Hi everybody, it's Geordie from Geordie's Cards. Thanks for joining me today. As you can hear, I'm still not 100%, so please excuse my voice. I am getting better, but still not quite there yet. So today I'm sharing a card that's a little bit different. I'm using some stamps that I've not used before from Heffy Doodle. This is the Geology Rocks stamp set, and this is the Heffy Doodle Stitched Slimline Trios die. And I have stamped 6 of these large diamonds out onto some Transotype perfect colouring paper using my Fawn Jet Black ink. And I'm going to colour these with my Copic markers, and I'm going to do a rainbow. Now I'm only actually going to use 5 of these diamonds, but I stamped out 6 just in case I made a mistake on one. So for my reds, I'm using R59, R29, R27, R24 and R22. I actually used 5 markers for each of my gems, so 5 markers in the same shade, because I wanted that real contrast between dark and light that you kind of see in a gemstone. You see lots of light areas and darker areas, and I'm by no means an expert at colouring these in. In fact, this is the first time that I have coloured these images. As I say, first time I've used these ones. I've used the volcano from that stamp set, which is actually why I bought the stamp set. But I wanted to play along with the Heffy Doodle challenge, which is all about rainbows this time. And so I was kind of flicking through and I saw the stamp set and thought it might be quite fun to try and colour all of these in different colours of the rainbow. So that was where the inspiration came from. Other than that, I didn't really have a plan. I just thought it would be kind of fun to try and play around with these and colour them in rainbow colours. So that's what I decided to do. So I'm just kind of trying to pick different areas to put my darkest marker down on each kind of facet of the diamond, and then shading out towards my lightest. I'm not blending really well because I kind of like the look that this gives, that real contrast between the dark and light. And as I say, I'm just kind of playing around with this. I didn't really have any plans, or I probably should have done watched some tutorials on colouring gems in before I started, but I just kind of wanted to go and have a play. I haven't been feeling the greatest. I don't know if you saw my last video. If you did, you'll know that I've had this cold for a little while, and I am starting to feel better, but I'm still not 100%. And I wanted to get back into my craft room and do something, but I didn't want to do anything too taxing or anything that was going to kind of make my brain hurt in terms of like designing any kind of interactive cards or anything like that. So I just wanted something fairly easy, and this is what I came up with. And I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. It's a little bit out of my comfort zone. There's no cute critters in this card, which is what I tend to veer towards. And so it's a bit different for me, but I enjoyed making it nonetheless. It was lots of fun. So I am going to colour all of my diamonds in exactly the same way, but just use different colours. So I'm not going to show the colouring all the way through on each of them. I'm just going to show you parts. So I'm using YR18, YR16, YR14, YR12, and then I did bring in Y00 as well. Just to add a lighter option. I really wanted that strong contrast between light and dark for these diamonds to create that look of kind of almost a luminous kind of look, I suppose. So that was the plan behind it, and that's why I used so many shades of each colour to try and get that. So as I said, I'm only going to show a little bit. I'm using Y19, Y08, Y04, Y02 and Y00 for my yellows. So again, I'm just following the same process on all of them. I'm laying in my darkest shades in exactly the same spots in all of them, and blending out towards lightest on all of them as well. For my for my greens, I used G09, G05, G03, G02, and G00. And again, just doing exactly the same thing there. So I'm just showing little parts of each because I didn't want to bore you by showing exactly the same colouring for each one. Finally, for my blues, I'm using B06, B04, B01, B000, and B000 to add some lighter shades in there. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with how these turned out. I'm not sure which is my favourite. I like all of them. Wouldn't it be nice to own a diamond this big? So yeah, that's kind of what I did. I went outside the lines a little bit with my blue there. So I'm just using my colourless blender to push that colour back out again. And then I'm going to bring in my Sakura Jelly Roll pen in white and add lots of shine marks. So I'm just doing little asterisks, onto my diamonds in various places, along with some shine marks to make them look like they're really sparkling. And I did consider using some sort of glaze on these, like something like a clear glaze pen, but I decided against it, mostly because I didn't really have the patience to wait. I just wanted to get this card done. As I say, I haven't been well. I haven't been doing a great deal of crafting. So I just kind of wanted to get a card made and finished. And I didn't really want to wait around for glaze to dry forever. So that's why. But it would look pretty cool if you had some glaze on them as well. And I probably could always add that later anyway. But I'm just adding this gel pen all over, as I say, to create some nice shine marks on my diamonds, make them look nice and sparkly. I'm calling them diamonds. I honestly don't know if you can get red diamonds or orange diamonds or green diamonds. They're probably rubies and emeralds and something else. I know you can get yellow diamonds, which tend to be the rarest, and obviously blue clear diamonds. Yeah, so I'm just calling them all diamonds just for the sake of it. So there we go. I've finished all of that, and I did go ahead and fussy cut those out off camera. Then I took the middle sized of that stitched slimline die, and I went ahead and white heat embossed my sentiment, "You're a Real Diamond," and I used some black cardstock. And now I'm using some Lawn Fawn Yeti ink, and I'm taking these smaller gemstones from the stamp set, and I'm stamping them kind of all over the background. I wanted to do my heat embossing before I did this because I didn't want my embossing powder to stick to this Yeti ink. This ink does stay wet for quite a while. And yeah, you do kind of have to be careful not to smudge it actually, because it did stay wet for a long time. I even took my heat tool to it, but it was still quite wet. So I'm just kind of using those smaller gemstones to stamp all over my black cardstock in this white ink, just to create a bit of a background pattern paper. And I'm always super nervous about doing this. I don't know why, it worries me. I'm always worried that I'm gonna make a mess, which is what I did here in this little corner, but luckily you can't notice it too much. Yeah, just I'm paranoid about doing my own pattern paper, and I see other people's and it always turns out beautifully. I think this one turned out okay. It was kind of fun to make, and I like the look of that Yeti ink on the black paper. So off screen, I used this Simon Says stamp, thank you sentiment stamp set to stamp my sentiment on the inside, which just says thank you for everything you do. And then I'm laying down my panel with some foam adhesive on top. Now, I did not get this straight at all the first time round. I'm pretty sure I didn't get it straight the second time round either, but it was well stuck down, so I just went with it. It's one of those days today. We're just living with things. And then it was just time to adhere my diamonds on top. And I played around initially. I played around with where I was going to put my diamonds. I thought about different orders. I thought about putting the blue diamond in the center initially, and then working in rainbow order out to the outside. But in the end, I just decided to go in rainbow order and just kind of stuck with that. So I've put my first diamond in the middle. I'm using my Barely Art Precision Craft glue, which I absolutely love. And I'm using a ruler. This is where I could really do with a T-square ruler, but I'm using a ruler to try and help me line up my diamonds so that they're kind of all even at the same level across the card. And this is where I realized that I had made a horrendous mistake by sticking that panel down first, because I wanted to cut the edge of those diamonds off so they weren't hanging over the edge of the panel. But I did manage to do it afterwards, and I think it looks okay. But yeah, it's just having one of those days. As I say, I'm still not 100%, so I don't think my brain's functioning as it should be. But I did my best. So once I had all of those glued down, as I say, I took my scissors to those two end ones, the red one and the blue one, and I just trimmed them off and made sure that they were flush with the edge of the black piece of cardstock. And it was easier said than done, it has to be said, once they were already attached. But I think it was okay in the end. I managed to do it fairly successfully. But note to self to make sure that I trim those off before I stick them down in future. But there we go. The card is done. I'm pretty happy with it. It will be entered into the Heffy Doodle challenge, and we'll see how we get on. But it was lots of fun to make, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Please do subscribe to my channel. I'd love to see you come back again. Or please leave me a comment. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks so much. Take care.